This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2003 Toyota Sequoia SR5. Up front is a 4.7 liter V8 and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm super excited to be driving this here Sequoia for one main reason, and that is the fact that I haven't reviewed a Sequoia here on the channel. And so it's always good to get another nameplate under my belt, and I'll explain at the end of the video why I haven't reviewed a Sequoia until today. But before we get on with the rest of the video, if you are looking to help out the channel, there are a couple links in the description below from our awesome sponsors. One of which is Cash for Cars if you're looking to sell your used car. One is from Fixed, a Bluetooth OBD2 sensor to help diagnose your vehicle, and another from Conplates. Conplates is a suction cup license plate mount for your vehicle in case you don't want to drill into your front bumper. Each purchase or quote goes towards helping the channel, and it's greatly appreciated, so let's get on with the video. So let's get back to that 4.7 liter V8 under the hood. Well, here in 2003, it made 240 horsepower. However, by the end of its life in 2007, it was making around 270-ish horsepower. So Toyota did update it twice throughout the run, but 2003 was one of the first years of the Sequoia, so it got the lower horsepower. The 4.7 liter is shared in the same year Tundra, as with most of this car is shared with the same year Tundra. This is really sort of a Tundra with a back on it, at least for the era. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Again, by the end of the first-gen Sequoia's life cycle, it got a 5-speed automatic, so you could find that in later model years. But this one has the 4-speed. It's a typical Toyota 4-speed. It's not bothering me. It's not good. It's not bad. It is what it is. Last but not least about the drivetrain, the Sequoia is 4-wheel drive. However, you could find them in 2-wheel. This particular one is 4-wheel. And like I said, it shares a platform with the Tundra. However, the rear axle is actually different. The suspension setup is a little bit different, and it has different rear brakes than the Tundra. So, something to note there. But let's get on to the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of different gauges. On the left, I have my coolant temperature and my oil pressure. In the center, I have a tachometer and speedometer, and on the right, I have which gear I'm in, fuel, and battery voltage. Now, the interesting thing about the tachometer and speedometer is it looks like they are currently going through mitosis. It looks like two cells splitting, which is very interesting. Very, very early 2000s. On the steering wheel, again, very early 2000s. I don't have anything besides a little cruise control off to the right, and it's a very brown, basic, boring steering wheel, as with the rest of this car. To the left of me, I do have Toyota VIR. Then I have gauge cluster dimmer switch, a blank switch, and I have a window switch. Zach, why would the window switch be up on the dash and not on the door? Well, it's for the rear window. The very back window goes up and down just like it does on the 4Runner, which I think is really, really cool. A really fantastic feature of the Sequoia, and it makes me want to buy one of these for like a filming rig so I can leave my camera in the back and get some really cool rolling shots, or on a nice hot day, get a nice breeze going to the beach, whatever it might be, you can roll down that rear window. Fantastic. Then on the door, I have my regular window switches, lock and unlock, and of course my child locks. Moving into the center, I have a very typical Toyota radio found in pretty much every Toyota product from the era. I do have a tape deck, AM, FM, and disc player, which is very, very nice. And then I have my climate controls. Nothing really too crazy to note here besides the fact that I do have controls for the rear climate controls. Very, very nice. I can control that up here. And moving down below that, we have the 4-wheel drive, center locking diff, and my digital clock. So this is not the only 4-wheel drive settings, but I do like the center locking diff. Really adds the off-roadness of this vehicle, this truck, this SUV, whatever you want to call it. So down below that, I do have an ashtray and cigarette lighter, as well as pop-out cup holders, which it says soft cups only. I've never seen this in a car. Soft cups only. So I guess as if you're driving up a mountain, You have to deliver tofu. You could put a little cup of water in here to make sure the tofu isn't spoiled. Very interesting. So we won't be testing the big friggin' bottle on those cup holders, but don't you worry, we will be testing. Then I have a little cubby and the 4-wheel drive settings. So 4 low, neutral, and 4 high. Basically, there is no 2-wheel drive knob, which is interesting. Instead, it's just normally in 2-wheel drive, and then you hit the 4-wheel drive on the dash we talked about earlier, and then you put it into 4 high, 4 low, whatever you want. Then to the left of that, this is where I find my power mirrors. Very, very weird positioning for them. I don't think I've ever seen them that far down on the center console. Very weird. And then I do have 2 regular cup holders for my hard cups. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Toyota Sequoia, and it passes. It does accommodate the big friggin' bottle. I've been driving around with my big friggin' bottle in place, and it is not moving. So I really, really like that. Then I have a really interesting center console. You open the top and it's a regular storage container, nothing really too crazy. But then when you close it, you have a secondary storage container on top of the lid. I've seen this in cars, sure, but it opens up the opposite way. It's hinged the opposite way, which is very, very strange. I don't know why Toyota did this, but that's just how it was built. Now moving on to the seats. The seats are very comfortable. They're big captain's chairs, and they have this little armrest that comes down for the center console as well. I think they're very comfortable. It's the sort of late 90s, early 2000s cloth that Toyota was using at the time, and I think it's very comfortable, very plush, keeps you nice and warm, and that's all I can really say. Very typical Toyota seats, but I like them. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the second row of the 2003 Toyota Sequoia. I have 2 cup holders up in front of me, as well as my own climate controls. I do get these little vents up on the ceiling, but not nearly the size of vents that you would get in like a Toyota Sienna of the same era. So just something to note there. I do have little ashtrays on either door, which is interesting. Power windows, and I do get a center console. No cup holders here, but like I said, there are huge cup holders down on the center console in front of me. Spacing is great. Headroom is great. I'm 5'11". I have plenty of headroom. Knee room, my knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. Really, really fantastic space back here. I would be very comfortable on a long journey in this second row. However, we do have a third row, so we will Wayne's World style teleport to the third row. All right, so we're now in the third row of the Sequoia. And honestly, I fit back here pretty good. I would say like better than a Tahoe, better than most other SUV competition. I still reserve the fact that minivans have the best third row out of any vehicle. But wow, I mean, my knees are hitting the front seat a little bit, but not by much. Headroom is good, like I said again, 5'11". I have 2 cup holders on this side, 2 cup holders on that side. Little storage cubbies on either side. Really, really fantastic back here. If I was a kid, I would have no issue back here at all. And I'm not a small person, and I fit back here really well. So that's a huge upside of the Sequoia. I'm really, really impressed with this back seat. But let's go take a look at what's behind me in the cargo area. All right, so we're on the back of the 2003 Toyota Sequoia. We do have a little keyhole here, which, if I turn all the way to the left, I can use it to roll down the rear window. Turn it to the right, rear window goes up. How flippin' cool is that? So actually back here, we have tons of space, which is really nice. The fact that we get a third row and space behind that third row, I mean, this is like Chevy Suburban levels of space, which is really, really nice. And God, I can't get over that window. Look at how sweet that is. Love that cargo space. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and the Sequoia doesn't really jump out at me. It looks pretty much like a Tundra with the back on it, and that's really all I have to say. This car is a beige on beige, which is not fantastic. However, it is the SR5 package, meaning it's a base model. The SR5 was one of 2 trim levels that the Sequoia got in 2003. The SR5 was the base, and the Limited had more options. That's it. That's all you got. So if you see an SR5 Sequoia, it's actually not that special. But now let's get on to my final thoughts here on the Toyota Sequoia and why I have waited this long to review one. Well, I'll give you 3 seconds to recall where Sequoia National Park is. 3, 2, 1. Did you think of it? Probably not. At least I didn't, and I'd like to think that I'm pretty into national parks. It's in California. It's not as famous as Rocky Mountain National Park, Acadia National Park, Glacier National Park, or even the King of the King, Yellowstone National Park. Sequoia isn't as famous as those. And that's my reasoning for not reviewing this car until now. I don't ever think about this car. I was shocked to find out that Toyota still makes the Sequoia for 2022. You can buy a brand new, fresh 2022 Toyota Sequoia. Now, it hasn't really seen a major update since 2007. It's still only on its 2nd generation, but it's still there. It's still trucking. It's still around. I didn't even know that. And that's why I haven't reviewed this. And that's sort of my ending question about this vehicle is, how many do they sell? Because I just don't think of it. And it's a shame because I think this actually is a very nice SUV. It's comfortable, it has off-road capability. Like I said, that's unlocking diff and 4-wheel drive. Ground clearance for sure. You throw some good tires on it, this thing could be a pretty good trail rig. The V8 has a good amount of power. It's not gonna throw you back in your seat, but it's enough, it's fine. Is it because the Land Cruiser is so iconic and so similar to this? And then if you want the smaller SUVs, the RAV4 and 4Runner kind of fill in that gap. I don't know, I think it's a shame that this vehicle doesn't get more recognition because I think it's a good car, but I just forget about it. The one thing I will say, maybe as an upside to the end of this review, is that for 2022, the Tundra is getting a big update. Its first update since also 2007. So here's to hoping that maybe 2023 will get a new Sequoia. Maybe based off the Tundra, maybe not. But I just don't ever think of the Sequoia. That's a shame. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me take out their Toyota Sequoia. They are absolutely awesome. If you want to buy a brand new Toyota Sequoia, you can, or this is one of their used vehicles on the lot. They get these in quite frequently. And like I said, the only reason I didn't review them because I always forget about them. But they are absolutely awesome. Toyota Naperville should be your first stop when buying a new car. They have tons of inventory, new and used, from all manufacturers. They're absolutely awesome, and I can't recommend them enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.